And good morning. Oh, hey, I need to get the backup Cameron in place. There he is. How you doing this morning, Cameron?
Man, I am rolling, sir. Well, actually, currently, I'm not rolling. I'm stuck in traffic because this is Atlanta. But spiritually speaking, I am rolling.
And for all of you thinking about moving to Atlanta, let me just say this. We're full.
We've been full.
For a hot minute. In fact, I think Lewis Black made that joke in 1999, and he wasn't wrong. The joke was funny because he was not wrong. Oh man, so I just ran upstairs, grabbed a cup of coffee, man. And you know, when I run upstairs in the morning like this, I've been downstairs working, I've had my headphones on, I don't have my hearing aids in. So I'm deaf as a post without my ears in. I get upstairs and I can tell who's up and who's not by how much coffee is in the pot, because I made a fresh pot before I came to, and this is every morning. I made a fresh pot before I came back downstairs, so when I go up just before the show to get my cup, if there's, you know, a whole cup of coffee missing, I know it's Fee because she doesn't put a bunch of stuff in her coffee. If there's just a little bit missing, I know that it was Vera or Penelope, and because basically they have a glass of milk with a splash of color in it. Yeah. So, good morning. We got Steve in the chat. We got Trish and see Jamie there. Jamie and Steve, both of you guys, thanks for coming out this weekend. We had a blast Saturday. I'm glad y'all could make it. So, this morning we're going to be talking about wages and inflation and that, but I've got an Army WTF that I want to talk about first. I scrolled across this on Facebook, and to be fair to Cameron doesn't know what we're doing yet. I haven't, he knows about the rest of the show, Matt, but I made it a point not to tell him about this video, so I'm going to let it play real quick, and then we're going to talk about this for a minute, and then we're going to get into inflation and all that. So here we go, I'm about to play it.
Okay, I don't typically do these type of videos, but this needs to be said. And I might receive some hate for this, but so be it. The amount of negative and hateful comments towards women in the military because they serve, or they're in the infantry, or they're in leadership, or now because they can wear a ponytail is absolutely disgusting and downright shameful. If you are currently serving, it doesn't matter what branch, active duty, National Guard or Reserve, and you are harassing your sisters in arms because they got a ponytail and you didn't get your beard, you should be ashamed of yourself. Grow up. We should be encouraging esprit de corps, not tearing them down. And to all you veterans, thank you for your service. But this back in my day crap is getting old. You had your chance, but you no longer serve. And for those civilians giving your 2 cents who never served, kindly see your way out of the conversation. You don't have the right to input.
Okay, I'm getting some comments in the chat that say they could barely hear, and I don't know that I can adjust his volume on the fly without dicking with the rest of the audio, so I'll just tell you what happened. This sergeant major looks like his last.
That's a sergeant major?
Yes. This is a sergeant major in uniform, and unfortunately I don't see Dad in the chat. I'd like to hear his thoughts on this asshole. This is a sergeant major in uniform with looks like he's got a CIB and jump wings on his uniform. And here's what you need. He said that there's a lot of hate comments coming at female soldiers because of changes in the regulations that allow them to wear ponytails. And all you soldiers, all you males out there that are complaining that you didn't get your beards, you need to grow up and stop. And if you're veterans, well, you did your time. You had your chance and you no longer serve, so you need to shut the fuck up. And if you're a civilian, you need to see your way out of this conversation. Okay. What you've just said, Sergeant Major, you need to retire. You're done. You sorry sack of shit. You absolutely should be free to comment on this. But not in uniform. All right, the Space Force commander that was relieved of duty recently, he was relieved of duty because he made what was called prohibited partisan political speech. He didn't do it in uniform. He wrote a book and published it. He didn't go out in uniform and make specific comments. He wrote a book. He's the kind of he's an officer with what was his name? Latimer or Lohmeyer. Colonel Lohmeyer. He wrote a book, and it's not like he went out and made specific claims and partisan statements in uniform as a representative of the military. All right, what you're doing here, Sergeant Major, this is the definition of prohibited partisan political speech. You are sitting here telling soldiers that it's totally cool to have special treatment assigned for other soldiers based on their gender. You are a classic man bad, woman weak, feminist shitbag, and you do not belong in my fucking army. You sorry piece of shit. You're not a man, let alone a soldier. You goddamn communist.
I have a hard time even beginning to wrap my brain around it. Like, when I think of Sergeant Major, like, I think of your dad. So it's hard to believe that this guy even exists. Oh, and by the way, that whole comment about if you're a civilian and never served, you need to see your way out of this conversation. Hey, that doesn't apply, because he said if you're a vet, you had your chance, and now you're not allowed to comment anyway. But even putting all that aside, one of the amazing things about the American system, it is a feature, not a bug, is that the civilians tell the military what to do, not the other fucking way around. So to suggest that I'm not allowed to have an opinion on this, like, brother, have you read the Constitution you swore an oath to uphold and defend? Wow. You just trying to get everybody pissed off on Monday morning, buddy?
Yeah, because this hit me. This really aggravated me. So what you're telling me is that the U.S. military has changed its regulations to allow one group of soldiers based on an immutable characteristic, that being women, to have extended privileges, which we're talking. Yeah, Steve just made a comment about the F-bombs. This is an NSFW episode. I didn't mean for it to be, and it probably won't be that way after we're done with this shameful piece of garbage. This is a Biden voter who hates his country and thinks that it's okay to discriminate against men. He thinks that it's perfectly okay to discriminate against men because man bad, woman weak. This is not standing up for women. This is demanding special treatment for people because they're not white males. This is not standing up for equality, because your regulation change doesn't say that men can now choose to wear a ponytail, let alone a beard. Right? Now, if the regulation suddenly said men and women in the military can wear ponytails in uniform, I would say, okay, that seems arbitrary and stupid. But no.
At least it's equal.
Exactly. At least it's equal. And that has been... My wife is in the military. She's in the reserve. We met while we were serving on active duty. And she and I have had the conversation many times. I don't like women in the... It's not a terribly controversial opinion to say that women don't belong in combat. I don't like women in uniform generally. And hey, my wife is outstanding at her job. She is. But she can't carry a 300-pound wounded man off a battlefield. Right? That's not something that is within the capability of even the significantly above average woman. Now, to then go so far as to because you get the whole argument, oh, well, equal pay for equal work. Yeah, that'd be great if you could do equal work. You're physically incapable of it. You know that whole there are exceptions to every rule thing? The exceptions to that rule for women are so rare that you will be shocked if you ever encounter a woman who is actually an exception to that rule. Because
Yes.
the average soldier is an above average man. Right? We're not talking about what the average person is capable of. We're talking about what the average soldier is capable of. And the average U.S. military service member is above average person. We're talking about people who are athletic and who take the fact that they are above average to begin with and train that above average to take it even further. So this sergeant major coming out and in uniform. Let me just switch back over to the screen real quick. He is in uniform. That says U.S. Army on that uniform. And putting a video out on TikTok. He is making the partisan political statement that the U.S. Army supports gender discrimination against men. The degree to which this Marxism has infected my military absolutely grates my ass. I could not be more upset about this. And yes,
Yeah.
Steve, that is a PT belt around the W. It's hilarious.
Yes. Oh, hello.
So, Cameron, if you've got anything else to say on this one, go for it. But I'm done with this asshole now.
No, I think you've made the point. And since you started talking about equal pay for equal work, that's even a fantastic opportunity to transition over to the actual topic of today's show.
Yes, it is. So, it is Meme War Monday. And this is more of an infographic than a meme, but we're going to look at it. Cameron, you saw it. I shared it in the Signal. I believe you saw it already.
Right.
So, I'm going to see if I can make that a little bigger for the audience there. Okay. So, we've got a sign here that says, now hiring starting at $18 an hour, McDonald's. Check website for details when applying. And this guy tweets, see what happens when employers have a hard time finding workers? They can afford to pay you. No. There's a big difference between they can afford to pay you and they can't afford to not hire you. Yes, they can afford to pay you $18 that are worth 50 cents a piece. Because now your $1 cheeseburger costs $4. You know that buy two sausage McMuffins for $4 special that's been going on for like a year and a half? Hey, y'all can kiss that shit goodbye. That's going to be an $8 breakfast before the end of the next month, if it takes that long. Right? For all the people who think these businesses can't pay, look at all the help wanted signs and see what they're paying now. Even gas stations are paying $15 an hour now. A lot of jobs have already been paying $15 an hour without raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. That's correct. That is a true statement. And guess what else they're doing? You're getting hit with shrinkflation, and you're seeing rising prices. That's part of the market now. You ever wonder why a Little Debbie just isn't quite as big as it used to been? Remember, right? You know, I used to think Little Debbie's just kept getting smaller because I was getting so much bigger. That's part of it, but the Little Debbie's got smaller Because it's cheaper to make smaller little Debbies. You still with me, Cam?
I'm still with you. I'm looking at a traffic jam and seething at all the other assholes around me that think that it's completely okay for them to ignore the flashy blue lights in front of us, only making things infinitely fucking worse. Okay, yeah, no. But I'm with you. I'm with you. Like the because places like McDonald's, and besides, we have no way of verifying that. Okay, $18 an hour for McDonald's. That's a bit tough. Okay, I mean, you're talking about the kind of pay that's like opening pay for welders. You know, like that's a real job that actually takes skill and practice. But to say that we're paying people $18 an hour. Now, to be fair, I could see $10, $12, $13 an hour, but $18 an hour, nah, that's a bit high. So it'd be real easy to take that sign and exaggerate it to make your point. And let's be honest, that's what the left does. They have to lie in order to win, because if they tell the truth, they lose. It's just a fact. But let's assume for a moment that it is actually $18 an hour at that particular McDonald's. That means that McDonald's is on the verge of closing. And instead of closing, they're willing to do something desperate just to not close. That's not a good thing. It's not. It's not a good thing that we went through a pandemic and wrecked our economy. Like, it's a damn good thing we had Donald Trump and we had such an amazing economy. We got below 4% unemployment. Did we crack the 3% barrier? I can't remember.
We did.
Do you remember?
We did. Okay. We got below 3%. But okay. Yeah, under Donald Trump, we achieved what is basically basically recognized as, by definition, full employment. We got to the level where nobody who wanted a job didn't have a job or couldn't find a job. And we actually got to a point under Donald Trump that businesses were doing so well and growing so much that there were more jobs available than job seekers. Now, today there are more jobs available than job seekers, but that's because nobody's working. It's different. So,
well, I mean, if you can
under
make
Donald Trump,
$30,000 a year to watch Netflix, we talked about this before. That's heroin. You know, like, I would never voluntarily do heroin, but if somebody forced it on me, I might become an addict and change my entire life around. Well, if you lock me in my house in a pandemic and throw money at me, I might get addicted to that.
Yeah, Joe Biden's whole campaign was basically just walking around and walking up to people with a wad of money in his hand and just shoving it in their face and say, "Hey, does this money smell like cocaine?"
I think you're mixing your metaphors. That's Hunter that knows what cocaine smells like.
No, Hunter knows what Parmesan cheese smells like.
Oh, yes. But what's happening here is not a good thing. As like, my company was one of the ones that voluntarily raised their internal minimum wage to $15 an hour because business was booming, right?
Yeah. So you want to be competitive. You want to peel employees off of your competitors. It serves you several good turns to raise that wage under those circumstances. If you can lure the better employees away from your competitors, it makes the competitors less competitive. It improves the rate at which your business can grow. Plus, it increases the value of the employees that you have. And when you increase the values of the employees, especially when you're doing a service business, like your business, pest control, you're handling service and product because there's a product that has to be handled in a specific way. And that's true in the food service too, right? Believe it or not, there are some McDonald's that just don't fuck the burger up as bad. And God, I'm sorry, guys, I broke the barrier earlier, and now I'm having a hard time coming back from it.
So
what we saw under Donald Trump is we saw the highest wage increases in, I think it was 50 years. The average American household increased their annual income by $5,000 under Donald Trump because of how much the economy was improved under Donald Trump. And when you saw wages increase there, what you were seeing was businesses had all the employees they needed and were growing as a result, so they wanted more employees so that they could grow the business. And as they're seeking more and new employees, they're paying higher wages so that they can compete with other people who are hiring. Now you have a situation where part of it is competing with other people who are hiring, but now they're competing out of desperation. They're not trying to grow their businesses. Go to a restaurant today. I dare you. Right? Especially for the dinner menu. Go to a restaurant for dinner today and see how the service is. And what you're going to find is that they don't have enough people to do this to service the entire restaurant. They'll have one waiter waiting on twice as many tables as she should be and getting her ass kicked because there's just not enough people who are willing to go and work. Because as long as as long as the unemployment rate is as high as it is, and they're paying out as much to subsidize that unemployment rate as they are, you're not going to work for $15 an hour. You're going to work for nothing because you're already getting $15 an hour. So you're not getting paid $15 an hour to go to work. You're just going to work.
Well, and there's even an entire secondary factor to that. Okay?
Oh, the part where you have to start paying for your commute and taxes and health insurance.
Well,
yes. And you mean the part where that $15 an hour is more like 10?
Yes, all that's there, but no, there's even another layer on top of that. One of the things, and go back and watch the opening to Reservoir Dogs. It's not only is it entertaining, but it excellently makes the point that waitressing is an occupation that many, many, many non-college educated women have. And they have it for a really simple reason. It's one of the only jobs just about anybody can get and make a living on. Or it was, until the government came in and said, no, screw you, you just have to go home. See, the one problem with making all your money off tips is it's great as long as you're getting tips. But as soon as you stop getting that daily infusion of $50, $100, $150 cash, that all drives up real quick. So you've got, what if I go back and broke it underneath me again? I almost got thrown out of my apartment because I got late on my so many times. I literally had to go to the office and beg and cry and explain, I don't have a choice. Please show me mercy and everything else. And then, golly, that's...
Oh, now you're breaking up too much. But you're not wrong.
Terrifying.
Emergency Cam, the remix. Well played, Steve. But yeah, and Cameron's not wrong about that. The waiting tables used to be a job that you could live on, as a young single person, at least. And God, nope, that's not going to go. That's not going to keep going for very long. And it's not even that people are going to stop tipping. Guys, people have stopped eating out. Yep, lost my train of thought. Cameron, you got anything else, or is it time to wrap this one up?
Well, hopefully I can be heard.
Yep, we got your back.
No,
that's good.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so I'll just reference something that we've said in previous shows. I think part of what this is the back door to the $15 an hour minimum wage. The left can't be honest about their intentions. They've got to employ all of these sort of bullshit tricks, just like Obamacare was actually the first step towards single payer. If you break the system, then you can remake it in any image that you desire. And so Obamacare was designed to break the system. And all of this, we're throwing the value of our labor market off But an almost incalculable amount is the same thing. So now the lefties can put out memes like the stupid ass meme. I've seen several versions of this, and it goes something to the effect of, well, gosh, if businesses can pay $15 an hour now because they're desperate to stay open, well, how come they couldn't do it the entire time? And you couple that with the fact that you've gotten people addicted to what's essentially UBI.
Yeah.
And, well, of course they've got to change things around. And now, let's not forget that so many union contracts are negotiated in such a way as, okay, your service is worth 1.75 times whatever the minimum wage is. Well, if you raise the minimum wage, all your union buddies get raises, and then those sweet, sweet campaign contributions keep coming in, and they go straight to the Democrat coffers. It is a naked money laundering scheme. And what else do you expect when you've got a whole bunch of Marxism like having its day and having fun and being Marxist? And we're all going to be fine. It's going to be great. We're all just going to get infinite money just mailed to us every month, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
And okay, so I'm glad you mentioned that. The thing about the unions and UBI. Guess whose wages aren't going to go up? Let's say you're making $20 an hour, and they raise the minimum wage up to $15. Here's what we're going to be looking at, guys. By the end of this year, if they get that minimum wage, that federal minimum wage raised to $15 an hour, those of you out there that are making $16, $18, $20 an hour, you're still going to be making $16, $18, $20 an hour, but your gas is going to be $10 a gallon.
Yeah, that's going to be part of the problem. Like I make more than $15 an hour, and I have busted my nuts in order to get to that point. Worked very, very hard and have earned it. And my wages will be worth comparatively less because my job is not going to suddenly go, well, gosh, the federal minimum wage is $15 an hour. So we need to raise your hourly rate in order to compensate. That's not going to happen. And it's not because the company I work for is greedy or unethical. It's because that's not how it works. That's not how any of this works. If Marxists understood the first thing about economics, they wouldn't be Marxists. Or alternatively, and a much more dark probability, is that Marxists actually understand economics very, very well. And that's why they're Marxists.
Well, we've covered this a little bit before. Okay, so the common understanding of the difference between Republicans and Democrats is that Republicans are the party of the rich and Democrats are the party of the poor. Democrats are pushing for a $15 minimum wage because it's a tax. You get the minimum wage up to $15, and then the milk goes up to $8 a gallon, and the gas goes up to $10 a gallon, and the cigarettes are $200 a carton. Essentially, none of those prices actually increased. The value of your dollar went down to 50 cents, right, or 25 cents. And then what happens is all that useless paper that they've been printing is plugging up your bank account. You see big numbers and you think you're doing okay, but then you go and try to buy a loaf of bread and you realize that you'd be better off just wiping your ass with that toilet paper currency. The objective of a $15 minimum wage is to make all your currency, all your money worth less money so that you become the kind of person that would vote for a Democrat, which is to say either corrupt or desperate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, let's never forget that in the Weimar Republic, it reached the point where it was cheaper to burn your money than to go buy firewood.
I was actually having that conversation with Vera day before yesterday. And in no particular like home economics context, Fee and I were talking about this issue a little bit, and Vera, is my eldest, asked me a question about it, and I explained to her that, when economics go wrong, there's this thing called hyperinflation, and we've seen it happen in other countries where the money was devalued so much that it was cheaper to burn the money than buy firewood to keep yourself warm. And then yesterday, we were out cleaning up after the party that we had Saturday, and Vera came walking out of the house and left the door standing open in the garage, and I turned around and I said, "Hey, Vera, remember when I told you that in some countries communism has ruined their world and made it so that it's cheaper to burn money than to buy firewood with it? Yeah? This isn't one of those countries. Close the fucking door."
Anyhow, buddy, I can't help but look at the clock and realize
you got work to do. I've still got stuff to do over here, I'm sure. Actually, yes, I do. So, thanks for tuning in, guys. I see Polytech there.
Gonna assume that's Alex.
Yeah, it's probably Alex. When it's Danny, it says Danny. And Ford jumped in just in time to hear us sign off. Y'all, thanks for watching today. I think we had an okay show this morning, and we will see you tomorrow. Y'all be safe out there. Love you. Take care.